Welcome to the little intro section we have at the beginning of every single one of these hatecast. Today I am interviewing Zach Speicher, which is one of our ambassadors. He's part of the ambassador program, and this dude has survived a heart attack, a stroke, other things. It's a really, really good interview. I can say this, we were both short on time as of when we recorded this, so it's a little bit shorter than the usual hour and a half that Jamie and I go on and on for. But with that being said, it's still worth a listen. I would also like to draw your attention to the sale we have going on this Memorial Day weekend. We have BOGO on buy one get one on Cannonball Inferno, which is our fat burner. It's OG fat burner for all you Cass and Pain fan hooligans out there that have stuck with us. It is an awesomely, insanely good formula. We have Cannonball Riot, which is our pre-workout. Cannonball Riot is unique in the way that, I mean, you take a look at that thing with those clear labels, those baller clear labels, you just want to pick that son of a gun up. You know, because people want to buy the pink Riot. They don't want to buy the black labeled Riot. So I'm really loving the clear labels. And the formula, I mean, guys, it is one of the best pre-workouts that I have ever had from personal anecdotal experience. But if you don't want to take my word for it, now's your chance to give it a try, because both, and Inferno as well, because they're both on BOGO. And with that being said, I'm done shilling to you guys. I try and keep that to a minimum here. Enjoy the show. Welcome to another episode of the Hatecast. This time, we are missing Jamie again, but we have one of our ambassadors. So with that being said, introduce yourself, Zach.
Hi, my name is Zach. I've been probably working out since I was 13. Just started getting into powerlifting about, probably like 6 years ago. I don't know, from there, from the beginning I started doing really well, so that's when I started sticking with it. Before that, I was doing mostly obstacle course races and just training for endurance and muscular endurance. And then,
so you were doing the Spartan or the Warrior Dash?
Oh yeah, pretty much all of them, all the obstacle course races.
Yeah.
Because like the Spartan races, those are pretty much like I don't know, there's like a season, like April I think, or March.
Yeah, on my 21st birthday, I actually participated in the Warrior Dash. Down in 2011. It was pretty fun, I'll admit. You know, I'm not one for the outside. I'm the epitome of a neckbeard. But I fucking loved it. I mean, the amount of I placed pretty well, 3,000th out of 8,000, which for my shitty
really?
was fine. Yeah,
that's actually pretty good, considering you don't focus much, like, your workout isn't focused around cardio, is it?
No, and I actually, I had a mistake that happened, so I thought that it would be completely 100% fine. Well, I had two things that happened. I thought it would be completely fine to take a crap ton of pre-workout right before cardio.
Yeah, I've had to do that quite a few times.
And it was not a good idea, because literally they had porta potties that people just let loose on, right?
Oh man, well, at least you had a porta potty. When I was out there on the Spartan, I didn't find a porta potty. I had to go off of the trail and try and make sure nobody could see me and take a crap. Then I ended up not having any toilet paper. So
hey, that's the Spartan way.
Take off the socks.
Yeah. But it's one of those things where, people would go in there and, I mean, for fuck's sake, people, if you're in a public restroom, treat it like the one at your home. Don't just completely unload on a bathroom, leave shit all over the place. Like, I've seen some fucking public bathrooms where there's shit on the fucking walls. How do you even have that distance? That's a talent.
There's people that have no shame.
But anyway, it's
no shame.
Yeah, I had to quickly empty my bowels because I wasn't using a very good pre-workout. And so that was the first thing that happened to me. And then I would have placed higher if the people who were running the Warrior Dash would have actually... so they had the... You know how they have the courses set up where the... they have those rails kind of... in some obstacle races, those rails guiding you where to go.
Yeah.
Well, on this piece of land, they had left one of those one of those rails got knocked down or moved, or somebody didn't place it there. So I had everybody because I, like I said, made a lot of mistakes. I decided to full on sprint the first out of the gate, and
Yeah.
I was running the wrong way, and the crowd just went, "Oh." It was so embarrassing, but I fucking love it.
So, boy, you weren't with the crowd once you said you went through the gate or something, went off the trail?
I went off the trail a little bit. Yeah, they had everything that could go wrong went wrong in that race, and I still finished 3,000th. So that's
not
for
bad.
me that's pretty good. But man, you can keep that cardio stuff. It's not exactly Spanish to me, but it's not the bulk of my training. So, from obstacle races, you went over into powerlifting, correct?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay. What made you change?
To be honest, I've played sports all of my life, and lacrosse, football, just every sport, and I've always been pretty good at those. I've had a little bit of endurance. So I thought, all right, well, Spartan obstacle course racing, that might as well be my thing. Because I've always wanted to work out and have a goal. And, to have a goal for working out. Then my buddy, when I switched over to Gold's Gym from another gym that I was doing rehab at, because I had a couple strokes and a heart attack. So I was doing rehab over there. And then I switched over to Gold's Gym. When I did that, my buddy got me into powerlifting, and so my first competition that I did, I actually got first place out of everybody at the meet, and I did the 188. It's like 188 or 183 weight class.
Okay.
And that actually went pretty well for my first time.
What federation was that? Or
It was 100% raw.
100% raw? Okay. So let's kind of rewind here. So you did that after having, and people, I know a little bit about it, but the people don't. So go ahead and explain, you went through a heart attack and a couple different strokes?
Yep, that's 100% sure. Let's see, back in 2012, I had a stroke, and then I went to the hospital, and I guess when I was at the hospital, part of having a stroke is it really, really hinders your memory. So I guess
Right.
when I got to the hospital, I had another stroke, but it was a different kind. It was called a cluster stroke, and
Right.
then the stroke is what caused the heart attack. So it was a big fucking mess. I ended up being in the hospital for 6 months because you're in the coma. They have to medicate you to stay in a coma so your body can relax and your brain can heal, because they have to drill a hole in your brain and whatnot. And yeah, so then I had to learn how to walk all over again. I didn't even know who my family was. So then, I went from not being able to walk, then a walker, to having some guidance. And then I started getting to physical therapy, and we were using bands, and I had to do that stupid crap you got to sit down on a bench and then get back up, and that's your fucking workout. But then a little bit later we progressed, and I was working with this one guy who was taking me through physical therapy, and he had me lifting weights like your basic 3x8 at really low weight,
Right.
at a really low weight. So he kind of got me into more.
Just so people realize, when you go through a stroke, the way that especially if there's any kind of involvement in the brain, I know some people have mild strokes, and yours seem to be pretty serious, or at least on the upper end of mild.
Yeah, there's nowhere near mild, man.
of course, major strokes end up in death. You know.
Yeah.
And when it comes down to it, you have to relearn motor patterns that came naturally to you beforehand. Which I have respect for you there, man. You made it through the other side, and now you're doing the powerlifting gig, and it's a really great. I love hearing things like this. Everybody has their shit. Everybody has a story. But
Yeah.
I thought it would be kind of cool to talk to some of the ambassadors, because you've been an ambassador for us for a while.
Yeah.
And
I don't know where to check, but it's been over a year. It's had to have been like 2, maybe.
had to have been, yeah. You and I have been in contact quite a bit. But
Yeah, I remember talking to you about the Cannibal Pharaoh. Like I think it might have been almost when that first came out. Do you know when that came out for the first time?
The Cannibal Ferox, the new one with because we've reformulated it a couple times.
I think it was the original.
Oh, the original, that was back way back. But the relaunch that we had with like the cotton candy flavor and stuff like that, the isopropyl synephrine, that baller formula came out about, I'd have to say, 6 months ago. Although my memory isn't so great. I mean, at that time we were just blasting away with new product releases. So,
yeah.
Which there's more coming up soon, so stay tuned. But yeah, I mean, so I love hearing stories like that, because when it comes down to it, people, I don't know if you're familiar with, life patterns. Like, people just get in this pattern of, going to work, getting up, watching Netflix, eating, going to sleep, right? And everybody who's into the gym and stuff like that kind of bucks that trend, and it improves so many different aspects of your life. I'm sure it was a great rehab tool for you when you went through all that stuff.
Yeah, it definitely was. It showed me what I need to focus on. Because, like you said, I needed to relearn everything. So it kind of told me that, all right, well, you need to have, I didn't know, but, you need to have something in your life to focus on. And it showed me weights, something that was healthy,
Yeah.
Not stuff you would do in your teenage years.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's awesome though. I'm glad you kind of, I don't know if you know my story at all, but and there's going to be a meme soon here about me always mentioning this in every podcast, but I used to be about 430 pounds.
Oh yeah, I heard that on one of the podcasts yesterday. I was listening. I was like, what?
Yeah,
430 pounds. How is that? I've got to see this.
It was. I was basically. You ever seen that heavy breathing cat picture going around? I was that. It was pretty. It was pretty bad. I had, and for my lifestyle choices, I paid the price like everybody has to.
Yeah.
That obesity took my gallbladder. It made me insulin resistant at one point. Macular degeneration and obesity are kind of hand in hand too, which is pretty.
Not familiar with that.
Yeah, eye health. So.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, or ocular degeneration. So, like, a bunch of these things were caused by me just like being completely fine. I mean, I know I have a genetic. I have something genetically wrong with me when it comes to my appetite regulation. Like, I don't get full.
Yeah.
And if you guys would like to see me do some like eating challenges and stuff like that, I'll go ahead and upload those here. I think that'd be fun. Call it something like Heavy Metal Gut or something. But
yeah, I'd like to see that.
Hell yeah. Well, I need to get into a state where I'm dieting first, so that I can use that. I can justify it to myself. Because really, do I need to go get kicked out of a buffet because I just want to? Really?
That's what I would say. I'd say you go and you get about see how many miles you can run in about 2 hours while eating 10 Chipotle burritos, and see how quickly you can get down 10 Chipotle burritos before they all come up.
Before they all come up, yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
You know what though, I do have respect for people who do hold cardio to great importance in their training regimen, because it's something I've always been lacking. I mean, if you couldn't tell from my past, it is something I've always been lacking, and I respect the hell out of these CrossFit athletes. I know everybody's picking on CrossFit, but they have serious conditioning.
That's what I'm saying. It's functional fitness, man, and it carries over to every single aspect of life. Not just, like in powerlifting. Like, when the hell are you going to need to just pick up 500 pounds off the floor? I mean, yeah, it's good. You're going to develop other muscles naturally, but, I mean, CrossFit, you're going to have to swim. All right, you're going to have to swim in real life. What if you go to the ocean or something? You're going to have to swim with the family. Somebody wants to do a 5K. Well, CrossFit, you have to run. Just keeps your body healthy, your cardiovascular system healthy, and
yeah. And if you're socially
people
awkward,
say it's hard on your joints, but I mean, come on.
And if you're socially awkward, just bust out the handstand push-ups at like a party or something. It'll be fine, you know. But
yeah.
it's one of those things where people don't bring the cardiovascular health importance into their life. Like they don't prioritize it. It's something I think a lot of people could benefit from. Now, mind you, there is such a thing as too much cardio. I am a firm believer in that. Like,
really?
Yeah.
How does that work out?
And there's a reason behind it.
All right.
I truly do believe that if you look at different types of athletes and the way that they train, right? Like, there are people who are successful about it. Alex Viada is one of those people. He is a hybrid athlete, right? But if you look at the gen pop, and I'm not talking about the genetic elite, I'm talking about gen pop. You have, somebody trains to run marathons. They look like a marathon runner. You have somebody who trains sprints. They look like a sprinter. You have somebody who trains bodybuilding. They look like a bodybuilder. And my personal goals align with the more bodybuilding physique world versus marathon running. That doesn't mean I'm afraid to run, but I'm also not going to go jog, 7 miles like I did. I mean, I ran from my mother's house to my dad's office at one point when I was on the weight loss craze, and that was like 7.2 miles or whatever, and I finished it in some good time. I can't for the life of me right now remember it, but
like 8 hours or
no. I had a pretty good minute to mile ratio. I had something like 10, which was better than anything that I had done before.
10-minute mile for 7 miles. You held that?
Yeah, something like that.
God damn, dude, that's pretty good. Holding that for let alone 3 miles.
Yeah, but I was also significantly lighter, and that's kind of where I think some things come into play too. Like, you have somebody who's a bodybuilder who has a bunch more muscle mass. They're going to have a lot more impact damage from running because they have a lot more weight. Because your body doesn't care if it's muscle or fat. You're going to have more weight, Mm-hmm. And I'm already prone to shin splints,
Oh, yeah, so am I. About probably 3 weeks consecutive running every day. I'm just about done. Like, well, maybe it's my shoes, maybe it's where I'm running, and I think it's just my body.
Well, another thing speaking of shoes, another thing people ignore often is the need for, everybody wants that flat-soled shoe to deadlift in, everybody wants that running shoe to go running in, everybody wants that squat shoe to squat in. That's become kind of a little trendy thing, right? But nobody that I know of takes the simple things into consideration. Go to your local Walmart or whatever. I am telling you, this will make a huge difference. Go to one of those Dr. Scholl's orthopedic like stands that they have, like little machines.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Get you some inserts, because if your foot is not rigid in your actual shoe, then your movement patterns aren't efficient. And sometimes people completely gloss past that because they want to rock some Reebok CrossFits,
Yeah, bananas, right?
Yeah. And that's fine and good and everything, but at the same time, man, like, I don't know about you, but I have a very pronounced arch. So I need me some goddamn arch support.
Yeah,
So,
I've never been a fan of those Dr. Scholl's. I've always had them sliding around or too big. I
yeah,
can't ever
you
get them
can
to
get
fit
them.
right.
You can get them. You can go to an orthopedics too. It's going to be a little bit more expensive, but like if someone has not tried that before, especially if they're not running, like if they're just
Uh-huh.
going in squat, deadlifting, benching, right? It made a significant difference in how my knees tracked when I squatted, when I'm squatting, and it made a significant impact on how my glutes fire when I squat, which is invaluable when it comes to the squat. And
Oh, without a doubt.
I kind of harken back to that being, one of the more difficult movements for people to get right, you know.
What, a squat?
So, yeah. In my opinion, anyway. So,
Oh, yeah.
but with that being said, so I know we went off on a long tangent. So powerlifting, what are your plans for you have anything coming up when it comes to competition?
Uh, yeah, right now I'm kind of taking it a little bit easier. So you can edit this out. Do you edit this?
No, I don't.
All right. Well, that's interesting. Right now I'm kind of just taking see, I'm trying to lose a little bit of weight
Oops. Yeah.
uh, and lean out because, damn, the last fucking power meet I did, I showed up. I was doing the 188 weight class, and I showed up, man. I really messed up. I weighed 195, so I've told myself that. Yep.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I thought we lost you, but we're good now. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, so I showed up to my last meet and I was overweight. I think, I usually go for, I think it's the 188 weight class,
Yeah.
and I showed up weighing 200.
Oh, okay.
So that's when I kind of looked at myself and I was like, wow, you need to kind of look at your diet before you compete if you actually want to stand a chance against these other dudes.
Yeah. Well, sorry, I have a little tickle in my throat. That's interesting you said that because a lot of the powerlifters nowadays are starting to actually lean down. That's kind of become a trend, I mean, it used to be that, powerlifters, all they cared about, I don't know if you know much about the history, but powerlifters just cared about getting the weight up. I mean, that's kind of been always the lights,
Yeah.
3 lights. That's all they cared about. And that harkens back to like the old days where somebody put 135, just as an example. I know that's weak, but 135 up for deadlifts, right? And then the person following that, old school powerlifting, they would have to increase weight on that, and then whoever, it'd be like a pyramid up. And nowadays I think people are kind of wising up to the fact that a leaner body not only functions better from a performance standpoint, but it also makes the weights feel easier, in my experience anyway. So
Yeah, I'd say you're right. And if you're lean, you're going to be a little bit more well balanced, I believe. And I think balance comes in a lot when you're squatting or you're deadlifting. I mean, if your hands are off just an inch, you're going to kind of feel an imbalance, and a little imbalance can throw off your whole entire lift by like 10 pounds or something,
Yeah, and I mean, the best way I know how to kind of tell this to people, explain this to people, is get a fanny pack, and this is going to sound weird, right?
That fanny pack, yeah.
Get a fanny pack, fill it to the brim with sand. It's probably going to weigh about 5 to 7 pounds,
All right.
Now, see how much of a difference wearing that in the gym while you're squatting makes to the way you perform the movement. It's going to pull you forward,
Yeah.
or it's going to pull you backwards depending on where you have it. I mean, it's going to completely fuck you. And that's only 5 to 7 pounds. If you've got 15 pounds or 20 pounds to go, shed the weight, then think about competing. Because
Yeah, I never thought about doing that. Pull off balance. I mean, I've worn a weight jacket in the gym, messing around.
Oh yeah. I messed around with some weighted training too. I used to do pull-ups and weighted vest before I had to slap on plates. So.
Are you doing pulls with plates now?
Yeah. I can do 45. I pull up with 45. I'm gonna be working up this year to I think a pull up with 2 plates on there. So.
Oh, damn, I'm out here doing pull-ups, and I just got in like maybe 3 just bodyweight pull-ups. Then I took out some resistance bands to finish up. So I like to do sets of 10 right now.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, here's the thing too. You also got to understand that I haven't done pull-ups in a while, or at least a little bit, because I had gotten so heavy when I was at 254 recently that pull-ups started to get difficult. And it's just additional body weight, right? It was body fat.
Mm-hmm.
I cut down to 233, and I'm feeling lean, mean, and like I'm a fighting machine now. I mean, so it's it really does make a difference, and you'll see that with a lot of powerlifters if they have, if they go through a significant weight cut or they try and change their body composition in a positive way, a lot of them will actually improve even though they weigh less. It's kind of bizarre, I know, but
yeah. And you go on, it's like most people, you go on, the general population will look at the TV and they'll see powerlifters, and the majority of them are going to be a little overweight.
Well, that's also the ones on TV are also, I believe, open weight classes, right? And then you have these guys that are like 5'5", 230 pounds, and they look like a barrel. And I mean,
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
To be fair, they're going to be a little bit big to make the weight, a little bit of a bigger boy, but hopefully they're country strong. But when it comes down to it, there's nothing wrong with taking a little bit of a break, and it's actually probably a good thing that you're thinking about taking this year, maybe next year off, just to kind of, improve the base. I think that's a smart move.
It's just improving your foundation.
Yeah, and foundations. The building is only as strong as the foundation that it's built on.
Yeah.
So, but with that being said, I think that leads us into another thing. What are your plans to kind of tune up? How would you go about doing that, or do you not really have a plan now? You're just looking around.
Do what? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
That kind of leads us into this. So with that in mind, you want to tune up. How would you go about doing that?
Right now I'm just changing my diet, and I've started doing an extra probably hour of cardio every day. Instead of driving to the gym, I'm walking home, then I walk to the football field, and I bring everything with me, which is about 50 pounds of gear. So like I said before, I'm in Virginia, so it's the summer right now, so I just wear a hoodie and some of those, I don't know what the fuck they're called, compression pants. Yeah, just kind of stay warm, and I don't know, man, it's been working. I'm steadily dropping weight.
Well, there you go. That's what it's all about. And I try and tell people all the time that when it comes to weight loss, if you don't have 40 pounds to lose, slow and steady wins the race. If you have more than 40 or 50, or you have, if you're over like 25% body fat, go ahead and cut fast. You're going to, and this is a little bit controversial, but if you have that much weight to lose, you're going to lose a little strength anyway. And
no, without that, I've noticed that even with me, I'm not big. I'm probably, like I said earlier, 200. And I noticed just from losing about 5 pounds that I wasn't able to hit my previous max.
Well, that's just that comes with the territory, man. I cut, from 254 down to 233, which is, 21 pounds. Had to do math there real quick. I'm not real quick-witted, man. But 21 pounds, and my lifts right now, as they are right now, are significantly less. But I also know that once the diet is over, like right now I'm transitioning from a maintenance phase into a bulking phase, right? Or into a lean mass or whatever the hell buzzword you want to use now. I know that that's going to come back because your body, once it's been there before, it'll go there again, So
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer in muscle memory. So.
Without doubt, yeah. I think once you've been to a certain weight, then it's definitely easy to get back there. Say if you're at 220 now, you're at 180. It's easy as heck to get back to 220.
Yeah. And so have you noticed any, speaking of which, do you have any tips or tricks that people can start to implement to kind of get into powerlifting or even some cardio? I mean, where would you start for both?
For powerlifting, I would say just basic, just the foundation. Let's just start doing a couple variations of 2 different types of squats every day, and deadlifts. You could probably do 2 different types of deadlifts. Really, it's about doing a couple variations of each exercise. Like, if you're gonna try and get your bench up, you want a large bench, you're gonna do incline, decline bench. So you're gonna want to do every single type of bench that you could think of. And same thing with deadlifts. You just do those 3 lifts if you're gonna powerlift. You don't really worry about doing hang cleans or fucking power cleans or anything like that. You just focus on the variations of each of those lifts.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I preached in the last podcast that I had with the guy we interviewed. He's a record holder, right?
Yeah.
And
yeah,
he's a state record holder. Well, no, that one's not out yet, man.
No,
it's not out yet. But he's a state record holder, and he said basically the same thing. If you want to be proficient at something, you must do it over and over.
Yes.
That is the simple answer to it. I mean, if you're starting out just as a powerlifter, like Zach said, the big 3 is what you should be focusing on. And also, go ahead and hang out around meets. Get
exactly. Those people love to share information. Everybody there wants to just talk about it. And you can look at the people and you'll see how they prepare, how they warm up for their lift, which is really like half of your time in the gym is going to be warming up properly so you can do each of those lifts more efficiently. You're not wasting time or anything. You want to warm up properly.
Yeah, especially if you're like me and you sit all day. Your hip flexors get tight and all that stuff. And it just, I'll be honest with you. I have to do about 10 minutes of like a very brisk walk on the treadmill when I go to the gym, and then go over to my dynamic stretching work. And that happens to be about 20-25 minutes of my time, but it's invaluable. It allows me to proficiently hit the lifts every single time the way I want to hit them. And there's nothing in this world that will make you perform better than hitting the lifts the way you want to hit them. So in order to do that, sometimes you got to get the cracks out and all that stuff, especially if you're older. You old guys out there trying to come in like young bucks, sitting there, no warm-ups, just going into your max set. Man, you're missing out. Warm-up time is great.
Yeah, that's going to wear off. That's going to take a toll on you soon.
Yeah. You're going to end up being like those guys. I used to bench 405 in high school. Like, no, you didn't, but that's okay. Why aren't you doing it now? Oh, because I got injured.
I got injured about 10 years ago. I haven't recovered.
Yeah. And you know what? To be fair with those guys, ACL surgeries and meniscus tears and all that stuff, like, it's much better now. You know, even rotator cuff stuff, repair and all that stuff that they didn't have back then is better. But you still don't want it to happen. You still don't want it to happen, man. That is miserable. No. So, but yeah. So with the cardio thing, what would you suggest people do on that one? How would you suggest people start with getting more cardio?
Cardio, you're going to want to do something explosive. You're going to want to take some heavy bands and fucking sprint for about 5 feet, 10 feet, whatever. Then just go slowly back and just sprint out and work on, I don't know what you call it, muscular endurance for over and over. You just want to work on being explosive, man. Weighted box jumps. Pulling a heavy sled, pushing the sled.
And I know a lot of guys don't have access to sleds, but if you do, use them. If you have access to a prowler or a sled, use them. But if you don't, something that I've found that's effective is doing something that your old football coach used to do to you. Set up 2 cones, pretend you're in PE again, right? And sprint back and forth to them.
Yep.
I mean, it's not really rocket science, but people need a place to start. And I think that, even picking up, if you are, a bigger individual, picking up walking. Walking is one of the healthiest things that you can do for yourself. Let me tell you something. It is the only form of cardio that's approved, I believe, by the American Heart Association. It is proven to be low impact. It is proven to be, so many different health benefits. And stand efforting is a real hot topic right now. And the guy has turned me on to a bit of research, which is his 10-minute walks. Now, he does it kind of obsessively, but apparently, according to the research that they did on diabetics who are very insulin resistant, doing these walks after meals with high glycemic stuff, spikes their blood sugar a lot. It actually makes it more sensitive to insulin, which is it's a fantastic thing for diabetics and a fantastic thing for everybody wanting to lose some body fat or get in shape. More insulin sensitive you are it's killer. The benefits are just numerous. So better nutrient partitioning, better blood sugar control, better fat loss, better muscle building, all the good things.
Yeah, whenever I go over to the gym, I'm making sure that one of the main things I do is, warming up with, now that I'm thinking of it, I go in there and I warm up before anything else at all, is I get on the Stairmaster for about 5-6 minutes just to get some fluid going in my joints.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something people don't think about either. Is there's this fluid, this gelatinous fluid, that is between your lumbar spine and joints like that, and if you do some stretches in a rapid motion, or if you do something like the stair stepper, or if you do something like walking on a treadmill or what have you, you can actually basically put WD-40 in your spine. It's gonna make things go great. So, and I'm tall. I'm 6'5", so
yeah, you're a pretty big dude.
I have to make sure that my back isn't going to give out or my hips aren't going to give out, because those are the 2 things on taller guys that usually end up kicking the bucket. So,
yeah, after deadlifting for a little bit, I can definitely, my back is pretty done after about 45 minutes to an hour of just straight deadlifting. So I broke my back when I was 18. I fractured in 3 places. One of the vertebrae.
Oh, really? I didn't know about that. What What's the story behind
Oh
that?
man.
What happened?
Just I was young and I was in a bad car accident. Somebody was um, somebody was driving and they shouldn't have been driving, and ended up it was kind of raining outside. The car fishtail hit a fucking side rail and happened to be the side that I was on, and the seatbelt got way too tight on me, and it tore a few internal organs and pulled my spine really hard, and I fractured a few vertebrae there.
Man, you've been through some shit.
Shit, you have no idea. Oh, yeah, I can talk about another hour about that one too. But,
Man, you're making me feel like a bitch when it comes to my fucking gallbladder, right? Because that's the one that I keep harking back to because it's this sharp stabbing pain. But holy shit, you've had your back broken, you've had strokes, you've had a heart attack. I mean, man, it's a blessing that you're still here.
Tore a bunch of internal organs, whatever. Something by my throat, esophagus.
Yeah.
I'll have to put a picture up there later on my Facebook or something.
Okay. Yeah, that's that kind of stuff, man. Those are the stories. Like, you've overcome so many different odds, and it really is inspiring. And I hope people, people who's saying that, oh, I can't go to the gym because I'm tired.
Exactly. That's what I want
at
people
this
to
guy.
hear. Like, dude, oh, you had a long work day? Well, motherfucker, I just had a stroke. You think it's easy for me to get to the gym?
Yeah, and even
really,
after,
yeah.
I'll tell you the day I had yesterday. I mean, I had the podcast with Jamie fell through because the he had something to do, like, so whatever, like, let him do what he does. And then I scheduled with somebody else. That fell through because of our schedules not meeting up. And then I had to reschedule with another person. I was kind of trying to find as many people as I can record with because I want to bring you guys content. And when it comes down to it, like, everything that could have gone wrong, I got a headache that day. I broke my chair. Like, the back is completely snapped back. I went to the gas station across the street to see if I had enough balance on my card in order to, because we're going through a mortgage right now and we kind of can't spend anything extravagant, but we have another car.
All right.
We're going to see if there's enough balance on it. Well, turns out the ATM was broken, so we had to drive out of our way. And I took long in the gym because I'm currently kind of recovering from a head coldish thing, and my strength isn't all the way back from that. And it just, man, yesterday, I mean, I know it's little insignificant things, but yesterday, man, I was heated. But I still didn't miss a meal and didn't miss training.
Exactly. Yep.
I went in there, and I understand people. I understand that people don't have time, but if you watch Netflix, you have time. If you listen to this podcast, I'm looking at you, everybody. You got time. Don't miss meals and don't miss training. And that's...
Oh yeah, I've ate my lunch just walking to the gym or driving to the gym.
Yeah.
I mean, it's no problem. You don't have to sit down to eat. You can be walking around. You can be in the car. It doesn't matter. I'm pretty sure everybody eats their food in Gladware, or I don't know. Do you eat your food in Gladware, or?
Oh,
you prep all your food, right?
Oh, I meal prep 2 meals, right? But the rest of it I kind of make on the fly. My breakfast is usually some sort of breakfast cereal, Cannonball Kraken. If you've never used Cannonball Kraken as milk, by the way, guys, you need to do that right now. Instead of your basic bitch like almond milk or whatever, or mix it with milk, and just pour that bitch on your cereal. It is so goddamn good. It just makes every morning I wake up looking forward to that, And so that, and I have my dark chocolate. I'm also a health freak too, because once you've lost a bunch of weight, you kind of become this like almost neurotic about health, and I want to be around for a long time. I don't know how much damage I did, So I'm all about, making sure that I have my greens every day and making sure that I have plenty of fruits and vegetables in my diet. And even on top of that, a scoop of Gaia, which is another one of
Oh
our
yeah, that
products.
stuff is delicious.
Shameless plug. But, when it comes down to it, like, this is the stuff you guys need to concentrate on. Never miss a meal, But I do prep 2 of my meals, and the rest of it I just eat on the fly. Like today, I had my breakfast. I came home. We just went grocery shopping. I spent way too much on food. I know, but I actually picked up 4 boxes of this limited edition Captain Crunch Beach cereal. It turns your milk blue, so that's something to look forward to because apparently it's 8.
No,
Hey,
Captain
embrace
Crunch
it.
is the go-to cereal for me too.
Fucking embrace it, man. Like you only old if you act old. But and then from there, I fixed myself like a shake, and then I poured it over some cereal because I'm a cereal aficionado. And then after we get off here, I'm gonna have some fried rice, and then my 2 prepared meals, which is chicken, beef, tilapia, my veggies, some
Yeah.
potatoes, and just like, man, at the end of the day, it's 3,850 calories just to maintain my weight right now. So that's a lot of food for you guys who don't count calories. So,
Yeah, it is. For me, it ends up being, let's see, just about 8 meals.
yeah.
I'd say, well, all right, about 6 meals and a couple snacks.
Well, I'm of the and the way that I eat too, guys. If you kind of want to pick this up, is I have my breakfast, which is kind of small for me, and I just cram absolutely as much shit in my mouth as I can from the time that I get home from the gym, which is the perfect time too, all the way to a couple hours after that, and then I finish off with like a small snack before bed. I only eat 3 times a day, which is contradictory to all the bodybuilders and all that stuff, but works for me.
Yeah, I haven't heard that. Well, I mean,
So,
I've heard that, but I haven't heard of anybody that does that currently.
yeah, no,
Doing that.
it just fits my lifestyle, and just like you walk into the gym, eating your meal, that fits your lifestyle, and that's what more people should do. But I know I went off on a tangent there, but.
Yeah.
Man,
People just get comfortable with their ways, They get comfortable, and then it's kind of hard to get out of that.
I know, and I'm all about when I advise people on things. I try and as much as I can concentrate on adding things, because adding things is easy. Taking things away is hard.
Got that out.
So when you add stuff like, I'm going to take a walk today, or I'm going to go to the gym today, I'm going to make sure that I go to the gym this many times a week. All that shit adds up to this huge, gigantic difference. So, but anyway, I think we're hitting at almost an hour here, and I'd like to get through 2 questions if you don't mind. So,
Yeah, shoot.
you going to help me answer those?
We'll see, yeah.
All right. So I got a question from Instagram not too long ago. Somebody had recently torn or partially torn their bicep, and they were wondering what would be the best, because we did a podcast on recovery. What would be the best way to kind of take care of that?
I would say you would keep your arm. Let's see. Keep your arm in a sling, and you just don't put any pressure. You don't fucking lift anything with it. You kind of ice it, heat it, constantly just change it around, soak it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, but have you ever pulled like a muscle or? Yeah, not a lot of people tear a muscle unless you're powerlifting, so it's hard to relate with that. But yeah, I've done the same thing. You just gotta keep it elevated, and it's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
Got to keep it in the sling.
The most important thing that I would concentrate on, especially with a torn muscle, is don't put any much like you said much weight on it for about 2 weeks. And my reasoning behind that is because that's what physical therapists suggest usually, right?
Yeah.
Just enough for the swelling to go down, all that stuff. Some of the things that you can do to reduce the swelling is stuff like mentioned, icing it, heating it. Although I'm more of a heat person just because I'm basically a snake. I get cold very easily. It's fine. But make sure that you do that. Make sure that you also do something. I'm also a big fan of active recovery. So if it's not a torn quad, walk. If it is a torn quad, go to your gym. Hobble up there, fucking hop around. It's fine, and do some.
Get some blood going.
Yeah, it's such a powerful thing. Active recovery. It's tremendously underutilized. People, when they get hurt, they just say, "Oh, I'm not going to the gym anymore. I'm not going to move. It hurts too bad." Blah, like that. That's fine, but it's just going to prolong the healing process, right?
Yeah.
So active recovery, blood flow, that's what you should concentrate on. Helios is also great for that. I know that's like the 4th or 5th shameless plug, but Helios is developed with total body inflammation in mind. When you guys do something like that, systemic inflammation will cause, isolated inflammation will cause systemic inflammation just because that's what it does, generally. And one of the ways in which you can reduce systemic inflammation, right, or isolated inflammation, is we have curcumin, which has been, guys, look it up. It's been studied into the ground for reducing inflammation. If you are one of those people that just tore it, I would be ordering some Helios and getting that into you. But other than that, if you need to take ibuprofen or Advil, and we can kind of go into that. What are your opinions on that?
Yeah, Tylenol and... I'm sorry, if you have a torn bicep, in all honesty, Tylenol and aspirin, it's not going to help that much. Yeah. I just think, I don't know, if you're most people that powerlift know that you just work through pain. Pain comes with the territory, and you're going to get tears and cuts and bruises. I don't know. I've never been a fan of taking aspirin or Tylenol.
No, I've never been either. I will say that if it's completely unbearable, I would say it's okay, but don't start to use it as a crutch to train. Because what a lot of people do is they just pop a Tylenol or pop a ibuprofen. They go train through it, so the pain killing is there. And then that's how people end up getting hurt even worse, because it's masking the fact that your body's not there yet to push the weight that you're trying to push. Mind you, that excludes people that use ibuprofen and Tylenol for stuff like rheumatoid arthritis. Like, you have my blessing. Go ahead. Rheumatoid arthritis is a terrible, terrible thing. But when it comes to you pushing a little too hard, or you doing tandem curls like Callum Von Moger and tearing your fucking bicep off the bone, like, just yeah. Did you see that shit?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, he tore his bicep, and then he recently, or semi-recently, like, I'm not caught up on anything, but he semi-recently tore his quad, I think, too, because he was doing this stunt. And as he was rappelling off of the side of the cliff, because he was doing it for the grams, for the Instagrams.
That's a waste of time.
Yeah, he was, because you're supposed to be instructed on that stuff before you do it, and you could tell that somebody was instructing him on how to do it while he was starting to rappel. Because it's right there on the video. Everybody can look at it, but it's one of those things where, bodybuilders, they tend to injure themselves in non-bodybuilding related incidents, Like,
Yeah.
I don't think I've, personally as a bodybuilder, I don't think I've personally been hurt that bad from being in the gym. All of my other shit has been, like, from the one of the worst injuries that I had, or things that happened to me was, like, the gym's fault, but I had staph on my face, right? Because these nasty motherfuckers that come into the gym and think that it's completely fine not to wipe off your equipment.
Oh, yeah, that is fucking gross. I will talk to somebody and tell them, hey, man, you forgot to wipe off your equipment. They still have towels.
Yeah.
Or the spray's over there. Yeah, I'm not getting, like you said, staph infection or something else because somebody didn't want to take 5 seconds and spray down the bench or a bar.
And, oh man, and you know what's crazy too is there's some things that I didn't even think about, like sitting down at a bench in a gym locker room. Someone's balls have been on that.
Someone's sweaty balls and ass has been on there, yeah.
Yeah. And also, you know, not going into your gym locker room with shower shoes. People get athlete's foot all the time, right? All the time from gym showers. Get you some shower shoes, wipe off your damn equipment, and I think that's actually at a good spot for us to end this thing, because we're coming up on an hour, man.
Oh, really? All right.
Yeah. So, I will go ahead and link your social media down below if people want to follow along. So, what is your coupon code, by the way, for Chaos and Pain?
Chaotic Warrior 90.
And I'll make sure and confirm that, and I'll link it in the description below. But as always, guys, this is your host, Bryce Allen, and I appreciate every single one of you who are tuning in. And don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe. It really does help us out. We're trying to look very good for YouTube so that we can monetize this, so that we can buy better equipment, so that we can bring better content to you guys. When I move into the new place, there will be webcams. You're not getting a cam show, but I will say that it will be worth the wait. We're going to have a totally different looking show. So, with that being said, guys, we will see you on the next one if I can get this one on again.
All right, everybody, have a good night.
All right, peace. As a bonus for making it to the end, you guys get a special little treat. So, I forgot one thing, and it's a very big announcement for us because we've been working on getting these into our hands for a long time. We finally have hats. With, by the way, a little personal touch that was my little brainchild. There's a little tinfoil sticker on there so that you can have an extra fresh hat to show off to your friends. I know that's still a thing. Please, someone explain that to me. I'm so out of that crowd. But with that being said, you can go pick yours up over at www.chaosandpain.com, and the discount codes work with them. So, with that being said, there's no excuse. Represent. Alright, guys. Thanks for watching.